What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting these possibilities for you to consider, enabling you to come up with your own conclusions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, code breakers around the world, wherever you are, my name is Logan, and I'm going to be your tour guide for this presentation on another episode of Scripted Reality. This is going to be number 29. This is a very, special number for me just because I know it's tied to the whole lukewarm scenario, since lukewarm is 29. Lukewarm, neutrality. What does a bunch of people at the beach have to do with that? Well, you're of course going to find out. The beach bods, man, So Scripted Reality 29, this has been a great series. I just keep going with these. These are like a fan favorite here, member favorite. So put on a pair of headphones, block out the outside world. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. I got inspired by, we just released the Pope Leo Decoded, and somebody in the comments had stated something about, because we were talking about the Y and T, right? The cross here. Obviously, the most famous symbol in theology, or one of them, is Jesus on the cross. And Jesus is forming the letter Y, of course, because he's sagging down, but he's sitting on that Roman construct, which is the letter T. So I think this person, and I don't remember who you are, I couldn't find the comment, but thank you so much, because this is kind of what inspired me to do this. And I commented back on it. But, YouTube has the Y and the T. And in numerology, the science of numbers, when you take words and you plop them into the calculator, the phonetics the phonetics of the words actually are what really dictate and narrate the words themselves and what they're going to do. So they're called the cornerstone, right? So the cornerstone is the first letter and the capstone's the last letter, but it's the first letter that really kind of navigates the energy of where this is going to go. And, it's you, tube. So it's the Y and the T, and it's broadcast yourself. And I think this is just really funny, if you ask me, because how long have we been talking about all of us being the Jesus Christ character, playing out the Jesus Christ character? Literally, we are broadcasting our own lives live in front of the whole world, like Ed Harris said as Christoph on the moon, right? In the Truman Show. You're inside of a movie, man. Say something. And this is the research and what has been shown to me for years and years and years now, that's exactly what we are in. We're inside of a movie. The divine is using you, the supernatural, whatever you want to call that, and you're broadcasting yourself, right? And everybody even if you don't have a YouTube channel, your life is your channel. Okay, that's the idea here. So the Y and the T was shown with the cross and the Vatican, and we're going to show that more here. But it's really going to segue into this topic, this is what I was going to call it: summertime girls. In the summertime, what do you do? When you're in this stage of your life, you're not awake. Most people are not. Let's be real, right? I wasn't. There are going to be exceptions. But for the most part, what do people want to do here? They want to get busy with it, man. They want to hump. They want to have fun. They want to get drunk. They want to get crazy. They want to take their clothes off. They want to go skinny dipping. Essentially, that's how we all got here. Kind of in a way, right? But this Summertime Girls is actually a song by this band from the 1980s called Y and T. Yep. These guys right here, man. Y and T. Okay? You've heard this song before. You've heard this song. Yeah, the summertime girls, man. Right? And that's what this Scripted Reality 29 is dedicated around. Is Y and T. Could Y and T, the band, could they be scripted? Did they choose their name? And how the heck is Summertime Girls connected to Jesus and the cross? Well, you're going to find out. Absolutely. So this is kind of, this segued into that, but we're going to go back here and start with some symbolic aspects through theology and the mainstream. Now, this is not the first time I've shown this. This is actually off of one of the slides off of a decode I did for exclusively for the Patreon members. It was off of the Father Decoded. And Jesus is, obviously Jesus is in that letter of the Y, sitting on the letter T. This is a Roman construct, a Roman idea. All roads lead to Rome. But then to the right there, you have the flux capacitor, what makes time travel possible. And is the time travel just spirit into matter? Is that really what the essence of that story is all about? Well, you have the 88, right? The 88 miles an hour. We know 88's tied to Ra, and we already know, if you've been paying attention, that Christ is tied to Ra. The God of the Bible is Ra. Shown it 1,000,000 times now on different, scenarios of the ancient text. And we're going to show this a little bit more. So we have Summertime Girls. We have the band Y and T. Okay? This band, Y and T. And then we have the cross atop the Y and T. Is this just merely a coincidence? Well, no, because everything's synchronized in this game of life. So I'm going to show you the scripted reality through these 4 band members. These are the original 4 of Y and T. Over to the far left, we have Joey on the rhythm guitar, Phil on bass, Dave, who's still the only alive member, I believe, the lead guitar and singer, and then Leonard, who passed away, on the drums. Leonard named the band. Notice he has the word Leo in his name, which is the sun, okay? Which is what Jesus is tied to. I am the light of the world. This guy named the band, and I'm going to get to that. Show you how that happened, and show you that these men, like I have shown how many times now, these people that form bands don't have choices. They merely just come together because they are following their destiny. And I will tell you, and my final answer is, your destiny, whoever it is that's listening to this, you do not have control over your destiny. Now, I know that's going to piss some of you off. Some of you are not going to like that. You're going to give me a thumbs down. That's totally fine. But I will support that. And I will show you that these 4 band members did not have the choice to form Y and T. And the name of the band and all that. But let's start with their birthdays. You notice that I have the date of birth for all 4. And we're just going to simply add those up. Dave's got the 12th, Phil's got the 20th, Leonard the 7th, and Joey the 3rd. Over to the far right here, we have the trusty calculator. And look at what number we get. We get the number 42. You know how big that number is. What is 42 tied to? And how can it be tied to Jesus on the cross? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because the 42 is tied to Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 through 16, and the 42 generations of Jesus and the Christ, for all the way back from Abraham, Abraham being the very first, Jesus being the 42nd. I didn't make this up. I didn't write the Bible. But I'm a code breaker, and I like to it's just easily synchronizing things. So you mean to tell me that these 4 band members, now let's get this straight now. Jesus is the 42nd in the lineage here of the story, which is, of course, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, life, the universe, everything. And the word reincarnation is 42. All right, so that's just for starters. But you mean to tell me, so let's get this straight, that these 4 guys right here, with their birthdays, Okay, now if we're going to say that it's not scripted, that these men had to consciously come together and find one another and selectively choose one another because one person probably was in the awareness that the generation of Jesus and the Christ was the number 42, and the band members had to equal the number 42. Do you realize how absurd that is for me to even say that idea? That's absurd, and it's ridiculous. That means that their parents would have had to have some big conspiracy to birth their children out on these specific days. Consciously knowing, having the forethought that my sons are going to come together and they're going to form this band Y and T, which is going to be Jesus on the cross and the Summertime Girls. And we're going to get to why this is. You're going to wait till you see what this is connected to. But these men right here did not have a choice. This is their script. This is their destiny. 42 is tied to Jesus on the cross, which is reincarnation. Summertime Girls is the male chasing the female, and that's how you continually reincarnate. That's how you just keep reincarnating. Here is the format. Reincarnation, 42, eternal. That's what Jesus offers you, as does the serpent. It's kind of interesting, but reincarnation, 42, eternal life, 42, the lake of fire, which burns forever and ever. Yeah, that's the game of life, is 42. And this is the birth card of Jesus Christ, because December 25th, the most popular day that is the nativity of Jesus, is the Six of Hearts, which is the Six of Cups. And this is the image for the Six of Cups, kind of a modernized version of it. It's a little boy giving flowers to a little girl. And what does he want to do here? Well, subconsciously, probably doesn't even know he wants to get some, right? I mean, that's what it's going to lead to. This is what a simple little flower and gesture of love leads to, is humping. Summertime Girls, the guy chasing the girl. And this is what the cross means, and Jesus sitting on it. This is what this means. It means reincarnation back into the lake of fire, where you'll have eternal life. Not a bad deal, right? Because life's amazing. So this is not negative at all. I'm just merely the code breaker to show you what this means and how it all breaks down and how we live through a scripted reality. So let's get into Summertime Girls now. Now that we've established that the band Y and T didn't have a choice and they formed the Jesus Christ generation, the 42 generations. Well, now this is their, by the way, this song that they have, Summertime Girls, this is their most popular, best-selling hit they ever had. This one, their best-selling, highest ranked, most listened to. When you say Y&T, Summertime Girls is their song. If they had a one-hit wonder, which they didn't, but if it was, it would be this song. So it's a big deal. And what I have here as an image are people on the beach, right? Summertime. And the guys talking to the girls, trying to get some, right? This is the whole enactment here. This is what guys do. And the ladies love to chase. You women like to chase. Some of you chase the guys. But why I have the Tin Man here is because in The Wizard of Oz, what was the Tin Man doing? He was looking for his heart. Okay? The story of the Tin Man, the one of the four elements. Well, the Tin Man didn't have a heart. So the idea here is that spirit, the divine, it doesn't know what it feels like through the emotions that we have. That's the idea. I'm not saying it's absolutely 1 + 1 = 2 fact, but the idea here is that whatever's using you as your screenplay, as your representative, as your higher self, as the divine, it doesn't know what it feels like to fall down and hurt yourself. It doesn't know what it feels like to fall in love and the touch and humping and all of that stuff, right? And it go procreate, go subdue the earth, replenish the earth, right? So it's the Tin Man that's tied to this. This is how scripted and this is how comical the divine, if you ask me. God's a stand-up, whatever God is, whatever that is, the idea, it's a stand-up comedian because it's funny. It likes to have fun. Who wouldn't? When you've been around eternally, you got to have some fun with this. So the Summertime Girls, the #1 hit from Y&T, leads to the element tin and the Tin Man looking for his heart. And it's not just this, folks. from this scripted reality number 29. But it's also tied to the Greek and their Tartarus. Now, if you study the mythology of Greek, Tartarus is the punishment that they get because of whatever. And Tartarus, of course, is said to go 9 miles below the underworld, the earth itself. But what if we're in Tartarus? What if earth is the prison? And when you have, and maybe this is the West world and being able to come down and be whatever character you want. But this whole thing, how we all got here, keep it real. We all got here because your parents decided to have sex and make you. And that's procreation. Leaving a seed behind. And it keeps the game going. And falling in love it raises the oxytocin and dopamine. And that is what human beings, my final answer, are addicted to. We are addicted to oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, all the feel good, all the pleasure principles. We are addicted to them. That's why sex feels so good. And people spend a god-awful amount of time looking for it, chasing after it, trying to get it. Is it just the prison? Which is why I have a series called Prison Planet, which is why I have the Love Trap. We talk about these things. You see that tin's most average isotope, 118, is a direct match to the ancient Greek word of Tartarus. So what if chasing the girls, chasing the ass, as I like to say, I'll keep it PG, I'm not going to go beyond that. And I'm just having fun, so hopefully it doesn't offend you. Because I do have some stand-up comedy in me as well. So don't take such offense to what I'm saying here. I'm being realistic, but I'm being kind of funny. Is that the whole thing about this Y and T and the Christ and eternal life is chasing the female so you can procreate and hump and make a baby, so that way that spirit can continue to play this game called life. You see? And that's why it's all scripted, because the movie's already created. It's like when you watch a movie, can you yell at the actors and tell them to move and change and say something else? No, it's already recorded. Well, what if our reality's already recorded? That's how I view it. So if you're meant to watch this and you make different changes in your life, maybe you move into a layer of celibacy. You were supposed to. Everything is calculated and scripted by way of predestination. Final answer. So maybe some of you don't want to be in the prison anymore of earth and having to go back and do this over and over again and go through the suffering over and over again. Let's get into the card system and support this. I'm going to go to Solar Spread 50 since this is the Tin Man. And of course, what is the ruler of Solar Spread 50? Well, the planet of love, of course, Venus. And I'm going to compare that with the spirit spread. This spread does not move. It's the boilerplate chart. It's the spirit, right? Spirit into matter. And I'm going to go to space number 50. All of these spaces are numbered like a bingo chart. And I'm going to go to space 50. And what do we have in space number 50? The 22nd card in the deck called the 9 of Clubs, which turns into the 9 of Wands. This is the Wounded Warrior. This is the Many Lives, Many Masters. This card is the Titan, which is the sons and daughters of Earth, which is, I would imagine, they got here because of this. This is the story of the fallen angels story, chasing the ass, wanting to mate with the women because they were beautiful. All that kind of stuff. But if you study Genesis chapter 6, they were already on the earth. And these are the watchers. They were already on the earth. There was nothing about them going after the fact. They were already on the earth when men and women were marrying and having babies and all that kind of stuff. And they started to mate with them. But this is the Wounded Warrior, the recycled. This is recycled. So what this is alluding to, folks, is that when you decide to do this, you get recycled back into the game again. Now, the Jack of Spades is the card that sits in the spirit spread that kind of gives us another narrative of what this is tied to. And what is this guy wearing? He's wearing a full set of armor. And what is armor made of? Metal. Now, I would imagine it's alloy, but I'm sure it may have tin in it. But that's the idea here, is that this is how scripted even the tarot cards are. Tin is a metal. The guy's wearing metal. And this card is a card of revolution, and this is the dreamer card. Life is but a dream. Are we just in a dream and it doesn't matter? There are many people that say that is the case. Who gives a shit? Doesn't matter. Well, again, what is your instincts telling you of what you should be doing? That's what you need to go with. Your instincts. But what this is alluding to is that when you play the game like this and you leave a seed behind, is it possible that you'll come back based upon leaving that seed behind? Well, I can't prove that. But there are a lot of layers that say that. And of course, the Christ offers you the eternal life, which is, hey, come back and play again. Okay, I'll play again. Game over, try again. You want to try again? Yeah, let's try again. Right? You'll never know. You never knew in the first place until you woke up and you figured this stuff out. This is the card right here that is sitting in the 50th card space, card number 3, which is the 3 hearts. This is the card of the expansion of love. This would be tied in the major arcana to the Empress, and the Empress gives birth to things, which is what women do. They can give birth to children after the males find their mates. And then we also have the 50th isotope of titanium, and this is why it's tied to this recycle, and the 9 of clubs is the 22nd card. The titans of the earth. Are they stuck in the prison of Tartarus? Which is what this may be alluding to right here. It's very possible that is the way this works, folks. But I can't say for sure. These are ideas, but it's in the script no matter what. Okay? Now, this is where it gets funny, okay? This was off of my Scripted Reality Part 23, which was featuring Viagra. Viagra was first released on the 27th of March, and this is the card that is the representation of March 27th. If I go to the boilerplate chart for the cards, just so we can be crystal clear, here's the month of March. We come down to the 27th, and there's the 9 of clubs right there. Okay, just so you know. So we always fact check it there. But it's the wounded warrior, and this is the comedy of the divine, right? Like, in the case of, why do men take Viagra? What is wounded? Come on, folks, you can use your imagination. You can say it. Yeah, Mr. Winky. Can't get it up. It's tied to sex, man. This thing has made the game of life move forward in a very rapid way. Because now guys can go way past their prime and they can have sex when they're older, and that means that more children. This actually created more babies as a result of its arrival on the scene in 1998. Okay. And of course, has done, just what has it done overall? Sildenafil citrate. So the Tartarus prison tied to the Tin Man who's looking for love. And what happens when you have love? You have lust and desire. Okay? And you're with the summertime girls, man. And that's how scripted this reality is. Okay? It's tied right to Viagra. So this is what it's all about, man. You know, and again, I'm going to keep it PG, but this is PG. Chasing that ass, man. I mean, you know, I was at a stage in my life, I did a lot of this. Yep. And then, the women, some of you women that have a lot of alpha energy, you chase the dudes. And the women love it because that's what they're programmed to receive. The women are programmed to be hunted. That's why Eve bit the apple first. And that's why it's called Adam's apple. Because Eve is the one who started it all off, and the Eve is the female. Women can seduce dudes, and I mean this, respectfully. Women can seduce dudes way easier than a guy can seduce a girl. There's not even any question to that. Why? Because that's the way this game is set up. You watch a movie and you always normally will see some kind of romance in it. Some kind of plot twist of romance in it. And this is how we all got here, for the most part. The guy wanted to fall in love. The girl wanted to fall in love. She liked the chase. He wanted to get some. She wanted to get some. And voila. Here you are. Here I am. So this 28, again, the comedy. So we go to solar spread 28. We go to space number 28. And what's sitting in space number 28? The 9 of diamonds, card number 35. And the word simulation is 35 because that's what we're in. We're in a movie, a simulation. It's not real, but it's real. You get to be the movie star here. Yeah, you created the movie star. This is the movie star card. This is your on television card. This is card 73. And then if I go to solar spread number 42, which is what Y&T ends up creating through the band members in their birthday, which is there's the Y&T right on the cross. I go to solar spread 42 and I look to space number 28, and what do we have? My birth card here. This is your trap, man. What is this? What is this insinuating? When you chase that ass, when you do this, you now get trapped. You're trapped. You're a slave to it. As I had said, we are slaves to oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin, all the feel-good principles. Slaves to it. And then when you get a partner, you'll be a slave to them. When they hurt, you hurt. That's just how it is, man. And you know, Jesus, when you reduce it down, he's an 87 in the full, but when you reduce it down, there's the match to the generations of Jesus because he's number 42. Now, some people would say, yeah, I know he'll get you out of the game. Right? Now, there is some aspects to this story about Jesus because there's no talks about him having sex. He wasn't interested in anything physical. So this is why the story of the Christ, and I have been saying for the longest time, there are bits and pieces to it that are absolutely pristine and beautiful. But the drinking of the blood and the cannibalism and even this symbol, no, forget that. For me, forget that. And for me, I'm living my life without having to follow anything but my own instincts. How about you? How about you? Do you want to go with something that, this is a Roman construct, by the way. Okay, I mean, Lucifer's 28. Lucifer's tied to Jesus. They're both tied to the morning star, which is Venus, and Venus is about Pandora's box and love. And that's exactly what Jesus teaches, is love everybody, which is what everybody should be doing. But when it comes to doing this, I mean, this is why Jesus was born from the Immaculate Conception. Joseph supposedly didn't have sex with Mary. So he didn't do this. And then Jesus comes on the scene. That's the story. But he's number 42 in that lineage, and that's what Y&T, the 4 band members, what they add up to. Then the Y&T, the band members. Come on, man. It's so scripted, it's not even funny. So again, to reiterate, Reincarnation puts you back on the board. This is the card of Jesus. December 25th is the 6 of Cups. This is nostalgia. This is peace and bliss, absolutely. But this will lead to, eventually, if it keeps going, sex. For the most part, it will. Because that's what human beings do. That's how they're programmed. Oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. So when you're a little kid like this, right? When you're a little child, you're still a virgin. You're still gonna have oxytocin and dopamine going on right here, because now somebody's interested in you. Somebody actually cares about you, and now you start to take a liking to that person, and then that's just the way it works over time. Eventually, it will most likely end in a sexual encounter. Obviously about procreation, but reincarnation, folks. The eternal fire, man. The lake of fire. So, let's switch it up. Let's get into Leonard. Leonard is the guy, the drummer, who gets the credit for naming the band. Now again, this is scripted reality, right? Because he didn't have a choice. This is right off their Y&T website right here. This is a snapshot right off their own website. So unless they're trying to like bedazzle you or try to pull the woolly over your eyes or something stupid, try to get one past you. It's ridiculous to think that. We live in a scripted reality. Leonard gets the credit for naming the band, and it says one day his promoter called to book the band, but the band didn't have a name. So he looked around his room and he saw the Beatles album called Yesterday and Today. That's why it's Y&T. It means yesterday and today. So that's how the band was named. And his name is Leonard, which has Leo in it. And Leo is the sun becoming light, slowed down into physical matter. So we go to this Beatles album. Whoops. It was their 9th album. 9 is acid. And this is the June 15th card that was tied to the release date. So again, this dude on the spur of the moment doesn't have a band name and he's on the phone with his promoter and he needs to come up with something. He looks around his room. What are the odds? Yeah, scripted. He looks around his room. He sees the Beatles album Yesterday and Today, this one. And he said, we'll just call ourselves Yesterday and Today. And just like that, they're now Yesterday and Today, and they've been going by Y&T to shorten that for the longest time. Summertime girls, man. Yesterday and Today. And here's the June 15th card for that release of the 9th album of the Beatles, Yesterday and Today. The 66 card to deck. The city of Bethlehem I'll just do this on the fly for some of you that are new. The city of Bethlehem, where Jesus was born, 31 degrees north and 35 degrees east. What's 35 and 31 when you add it up? 35 and 31 when you add it up, 66. Yesterday and today, juggling yesterday and today. The 2 of Pentacles. This is card number 66, but it's from this card to 2 of Diamonds. This is card number 28, folks, and there it is. This is card number 66. There it is. These 2 cards together are the 2 of Diamonds creates the 2 of Pentacles, and these words, through numerology, go together. Do they not? Absolutely. They do. So you mean to tell me this man on the spur of the moment names his band Yesterday and Today, Y&T, and Y&T, the band members all their birthdays equal 42, which is reincarnation and the cross and eternal life and the lake of fire, and then he names it off the Beatles album on the spur of the moment, which is the 66 card, which turns into the 28th card, and 28 is chasing ass and sexual intercourse is 66. Come on, folks. Are you seeing how scripted this is, man? This is so scripted, this reality. 2 is duality. This is you and somebody else. 2 is the pulse of partnership. You need to take 2 to tango to procreate. So let's show you more of the script here. Leonard gets the call. Here he is, Leonard Hayes, born on September 7th, 1955. Here's his birth card. The 4 of Diamonds, card number 30. Well, guess what the word rabbit equals? 30. Alice, 30. Alice chasing the rabbit. That's what this is, folks. Okay, it's a time to play the game of life. Well, here is the Y&T card. Y&T means Jesus. There is the logo for the band. The Y is Jesus, the T is the cross. Y&T. This is the Y&T card for the Yesterday and Today album of where he named it from. So I'm just going to take his birth card and add it to the name of the band he comes up with and the album from the Beatles of when it came out on June 15th. First and foremost, what is 4 and 2 when you bring it together? Freaking 42. So the thing is, folks, how does this guy have a choice in the matter? Really? How did he ever have a choice? Well, if he doesn't have a choice, how do you have a choice? I mean, I could do it to anybody, man. I can anybody this now. It's so easy. Anybody. I can show you you're playing out a scripted reality. When you add these up, 30 plus 28, 58, and that is more than 52 cards of the deck. So we just take 58, we subtract the 52, and that gives us card number 6. So his birth card added to the Y and T card, which means Jesus on the cross, ends up reducing down to the number 6. And what's the 6th card in the deck? Well, it's Jesus's birth card, of course. Because Jesus was born on December 25th, according to the biggest traditions in the world. I didn't make this up. In Bethlehem, which has a latitude, longitude of 66 added up, which is this card right here, 66, sexual intercourse 66. There was no sex involved between Joseph and Mary. Supposedly, he had the immaculate conception going on with his mother and Anne, her mother. But it goes back to the 6, and 6 is carbon, man. Carbon. 6 plus 12 is 18, and Jesus equals 18. Christ equals 18. Slave equals 18. Even this. This is 18. That's 18. Even this. You know who this is? The origination of Venus. Venus. And Venus is 25. And what's the 25th letter in the English alphabet? The letter Y. The letter Y, folks, is the 25th letter in this. It's the 25th letter in the English alphabet. Venus. Love. You see? It's all scripted, man. A reality. All right, let's keep going. What is his numerology? His solar numerology, not his Gregorian. Solar, because solar is the month of March is the first month. If you're born in the Tropic of Cancer, he was. September 7th becomes the 7th month. Here it is through the trusty calculator. We add it up. What do we get? We get the element Ra. And his name is freaking Leo. Leo's ruled by what in astrology? The sun. Ra is tied to the sun. The guy names the band Y and T, which is the Christ. And if you remember when I did the breakdown of the Christian code of Ra, this is the book of Matthew. This is the 42 generations of Jesus right here. There's Jesus, there's the Christ. This is the 226 words. Out of all these words, this is the King James Bible, the most popular Protestant Bible. 66 books, by the way. 66 books to match this. 66 books. 66 books. The word Christ is the 226th word, which is the isotope of radium-226. Come on. It's 1,048 letters. The 148 is tied to the I am. Iodine and Americium. 53 and 95 is 148. 148 is the 418, which is the all-seeing eye of Shalom Ra. So you've been paying attention with all these decodes. Right there. I mean, this means eternal life and everlasting life. Yeah, the procreation. Keep having sex. Keep pumping those kids out. Keep the game going. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But that's what this is tied to. This is not the first version. Jesus, this is the 42nd person in the lineage, beginning with Abraham, the generation of Jesus Christ. Abraham starts it off. Jesus ends it for the 42nd, 42. Life, the universe, everything. So this album, let's switch over to their album Yesterday and Today. Their very first album. The very first album, 1976. Look at the length of the album. 41 minutes. 41 minutes and 16 seconds. You remember what that 41's tied to, right? The Vatican. Why would the length of the album, why would the producers, why would Louis Brahmi here make sure that they write these songs to get it? We need to get it. Okay, guys, we got to cut a little bit off here. We got to shave a little bit off there. Well, why do we got to do that? What do you mean? This is the song, man. We already wrote it. And yeah, I know, but I got to get it to 41 minutes and 16 seconds long. Do you know how ridiculous that is? No, it doesn't work that way. The most important thing about doing an album, folks, is the production and how the songs come out and how they're written and all that. Yes, of course. But to specifically just make sure that you get it this way, for it to come out this way. And again, why is the 41 here? These guys wrote Summertime Girls, their number one hit, which obviously you know it means chasing ass. 41. 41 is the cross. It's right there in the Latin cipher, which is the official numerology cipher for the Vatican. Y and T, which is the band members' name. The band members, yesterday and today, short for Y and T. It's 41, which is what this is. Y and T. 41. 41, crux is cross. 41, north latitude, Vatican City. Why? Why are all these like this? Why? And do you think Louis Brahmi actually, maybe he's Catholic and he's like, well, yeah, I know the Vatican sits at 41 degrees and the cross is 41 and Jesus makes the letter Y on top of the T and that's going to be 41. And I'm into the esoteric and I know this Latin cipher. We got to get it. We got to get this album to 41 minutes exactly because we have to have it match this. Because you guys are going to write a song called Summertime Girls over 15 years later. Come on, man. That's crazy. No, that's dumb. That is absolutely ridiculous, ludicrous thinking. Folks, we live in a scripted reality. That's what this series is. That's why. That's why. So to get to the tail end of this, I'm almost finished. We have the actual full, there it is. This is what they go by, Y and T, but it's yesterday and today. Remember, it's tied to the Beatles. 53, and there is a very popular spelling of Jesus. This is Hebrew. Yeshua. Salvation. 53 is iodine. One half of the I am. These guys did not have a choice. This is the man who named the band. This dude. On the spur of the moment, looking around his room, probably in a panic, because his promo, the manager's like, come on, I need a name, man. We got to book you. Right off their own website, man. I didn't create that. And I know they're not trying to bedazzle anybody. Okay? It's because of this. Obviously, this is a big deal. But people don't have control over their lives. You're just along for the ride. So the last thing I'll show you here is their birth cards. 10 of diamonds, 2 of clubs, 6 clubs, 4 of diamonds. And when we add them all up, doing it this way, like the cards, 10 plus 2 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. 18 plus 4 is 22. And what is the 22nd card? The 9 of clubs, which is this card. Recycle. It's this card when Viagra first came out. Mr. Winky being wounded. Go ahead, fix it so you can go hump. Go make more babies. 9 is the repeater. Over and over and over and over and over. That's why if you have this as your birth card, one of the things you were gifted with is a high degree of intelligence. This is the Titan card. The Titans. So this is the 22nd card in the deck. And when you add up all of their birth cards, just the numbers, which I normally don't do, we're going to add up 36 and 15 and 19 and 30, but This is 22. So that's recycle. And then if we add them all up, we get 100. Well, that's over 52. We have to get to 52 or below. So what does it synchronize into? The 48th card in the deck. And what's the 48th card in the deck? Another 9. Another 9. So the 9 of clubs is the recycle card. The 9 of spades is the nightmare card. 48 is tied to the word hamster wheel, which is the samsara wheel. If you study the moksha in Jainism and Hinduism, or moksha, that's like you giving it all up, man, not doing that stuff anymore. To prepare yourself to ascend. Nirvana. That's a different story. But this 48, which I covered in the samsara, I'm going to refresh your memory. We take the 48, we go into the string of the 3.14, because that's Ra, pi. We got to go 42 digits. There it is. Digit number 41 and 42. 42nd card, 6 of cups. Remember, it's tied to Leo and his birth card, with tied to the 2 of diamonds. So we get it here. We get it here from the band members, and then we get it here. So this is the hamster wheel, folks. Just going back and getting reincarnated as a Chaldean and never even realizing that you did. This is digit number 41 and 42. Right here. This is the breaking of the code, folks. This number 48, tied to the hamster wheel. The great red spot from Jupiter is there, the 48. 48's tied to Prometheus. This is 42 total digits in the string of pi, and we know that Ra is the 3.14. 88,226 is 314. Christ is tied to Ra. Digit 41 and 42. And Mary and Jesus are 41 and 42. Mary being the vessel. Jesus not having a dad. Joseph not humping with Mary. So Jesus, and what is the 41? The matrix. The womb. That's Mary. You see. And the 41st digit is the number 4. And if you go study this, if you go down into the womb, man, you're now property of the Lord. That's what it says through that text. Anybody that goes down into the matrix, you are now property of the Lord. Well, that's what that says. I can't prove it. But I think it's pretty crystal clear, folks. I mean, 42 life, the universe, it's the Y and T, man, the reincarnation. Okay. So the last thing I'll show you, going back to the sexual intercourse, which is what's needed to make another player. Well, that's 66. What card is it? What card is sexual intercourse? Well, it's 66 minus 52. It's 14. It's the ace of clubs. It's an ace, which is a number. It's a number 1 card in the suit, but it's card number 14. And what card is it in the tarot? Bam! What's that hand holding? Come on, man. We'll keep it PG, but what's the hand holding when it comes to sexual intercourse? Hello? It's got a wood, man. I got to hold this some wood. And what is you remember what this card's tied to? It's tied to Viagra. I mean, come on, man. The name Viagra, the actual official name is 14, which is this. This is card 23, and what does Viagra do? It increases blood flow. Come on, man. You think Pfizer sat down with all this stuff first? No, man. It's a company that makes a ton of money by selling blue pills to people that want to have sex. They don't want to lose. They want to chase, man. That's all they think about. People spend a god-awful amount of time trying to get some. But there it is, man. There's the connection between sexual intercourse, the playing cards in the tarot, you seeing it, and Viagra, sildenafil citrate. If you want to get a good laugh, go watch my Scripted Reality 23, because it was all about the Viagra. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's what I got, man. Scripted Reality number 29. And now you know why I have the beach scene here, and the guy talking to the girl, and the girl's just waiting to get chased. And remember, this is the summertime girls, right? These summertime girls. If you're in your summertime, you probably are not aware of all this stuff around you. I wasn't. And again, there are exceptions. But the summertime is when people are asleep. People this age, the majority of people this age are completely asleep. They're not aware of the esoteric. They're not interested in the esoteric. They don't care about the code. They don't care about numbers. They don't care about astrology and numerology. They don't care about that stuff. I think there's a resurgent coming back. I think more and more younger people are becoming interested in it. And when they become interested in it and they see that we live in a scripted reality, maybe that is when people say, I'm not doing sex anymore. And maybe that is one of the reasons why this is starting this thing, whole thing off here, of what this mission is, scripted reality, of Decode Your Reality. But there you go. And you know, why the 29? Because again, the funny thing for me is to do this, right? Whoops. Is to do the lukewarm. Lukewarm is 29. Jesus saying, hey, if you're not going to play, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. Yeah, what does that mean? If you're not going to chase, I got no use for you. Because you know now that the Y and T, this is tied to procreation, man, at its finest. Make another player on the board. Make another player on the board. Make another player on the board, man. So when you get to the summertime, yeah, baby, time to have fun and make some babies. Oh my God. Didn't know that was all the way, how everything was going on. Didn't know, but now you know. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Scripted Reality 29 in the books. Hope you had fun with this one. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.